This video is called Meet All the Different Parts of Me, or let me introduce myself to all the different parts of me. And I started to heal my childhood trauma 3 to 4 years ago, the so-called inner work, some people call it. I realized I had a lot of childhood trauma, so I started to do the work. I was already meditating a lot, and yeah, so I used journaling, deep breathing exercises, meditation, dancing and movement. I started to do the ego work, shadow work, the inner child work, like months and months and months of a lot of work. Anyways, about 3 to 4 months ago, I read this book called No Bad Parts by Richard Schwartz. And it absolutely just blew my mind about how I was already aware of it in a way, but like we all have all these different parts to us, okay? A good example is, how like at 10 o'clock before you go to bed, you're like, I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. comes, you're like, I don't wanna wake up. Like, it's like, what, is it 2 different people there? So I started to do parts work literally 3 to 6 months ago, and it's interesting. Every couple of weeks I have, literally met another part of me. And I have conversations, I have internal meetings, I call them. So on this sticky note, actually, I have all the different parts of me. So I have the authentic self, I have my aware adult, I have Hunter, which is actually my 15-year-old self. Hunter is my ego. When I started to do ego work, I actually named my ego. I'll probably do a video on that as well. My 8-year-old version, my 3-year-old version, there's a part of me I call the ambitious one, there's a part of me I call the horny 12-year-old, and then there's a part of me which I call the 17-year-old teenager. So yeah, parts work has been just like seriously just so amazing for me. I'll lay down here some days and I have, like every morning, every couple of days, I have an internal meeting. Like, how are you doing? How is your day going? What do you need the most from me right now? And I talk to every single one of these parts. And it is just mind-blowing how much healing can happen when you can get to that point where you can have these conversations with all these parts of yourselves. And keep in mind, I didn't know these parts of me were around until I was 28, 29. As I start to do the work, as my body and these parts start to feel safe with me, they start to come out. Where these days, me and my inner child, we party, we go on dates, we're just so happy and grateful with each other. And I'm so grateful that those parts of me feel safe enough to be here with me. Something that myself, I have come to the awareness the last couple of years is that we're all multidimensional beings, okay? And it takes a certain level of awareness to understand this and embody this. The idea that we're multidimensional beings, which means that it's not just one character, one personality trait. Like, you're not just one. You're a mix of all these different personalities and sub-personalities, where to me, I call them parts, and all these different parts to ourselves, okay? So I believe it can lead to a lot of happiness and joy and just understanding, because through your days now, whenever you feel different experiences and different emotions, you can just pinpoint it. You can be like, oh, there's my inner child. My inner child is having a rough day. My inner child wants mommy. My inner child wants daddy. How can I be the parent that my inner child wants and need today or in this moment? I've just become much closer to my inner child, that younger version of myself. And now I'm at a point where I'm talking to not just my 3-year-old, I'm talking to my 8-year-old as well. So like all these different parts of me that I'm having conversations with. You might be wondering, like, how are you having these conversations? First of all, it happens naturally. I want to get into the mode of having a conversation with another part of me. I call my inner child Little Momo. So right now, if I was like, Little Momo, how are you feeling while we're making this video? I'm feeling good. I enjoy sharing these things just like you like sharing those things. I like being in front of the camera. Oh, thank you so much, Little Momo, for sharing that with me. See, like, I don't know if this will make sense to you watching this, but I just literally had a conversation with a part of myself. And I asked it, how does it feel to be in this video, to be making this, like, so it's very simple. It just takes effort, it takes intention. It's very energetic, right? So you have to set the intention. You have to ask questions. You know, you have to be almost, you know, creating a space for these other parts to come out and have a conversation with you. And remember this, like if you're, you know, coming from a dysfunctional family, or if you had a lot of trauma when you were a child, or even at any time you had any kind of childhood, like a traumatic experience, these parts, there could be a lot of these different parts of you that don't feel safe with you. So they won't come out. They won't answer to your questions, you know? They just won't come out, like there won't be anything there. So it took me a lot of work, this inner work, for these parts to finally feel safe to come out and talk to me, right? So I just wanted to share a couple of those thoughts here. It just came up, and at the end of the day, I just want you to remember we're multi-dimensional beings, and we have all these different parts to ourselves, and the key to healing, living a peaceful life, living a happy life, is to cater and learn to sit with all these different parts, right? Some people could say it's the feminine energy and the masculine energies, which in some ways, the emotional parts of ourselves is the feminine energy. You know, even the inner child, the emotional dramas that the inner child goes through, it is feminine energy, because feminine energy it's very intuitive. It's your feelings, right? Where the masculine is making decisions, creating structure, taking action, like not in their emotions. I'm just sitting here and having an internal meeting with Hunter, which I call my ego hunter. If you ever have done ego work, one of the first step or second steps is to name your ego. That way you isolate it, right? So you know the difference between you and your ego, right? When it's operating, when it's making decisions for you, and all that stuff. And you know, something that I've learned through my healing journey is that, especially doing parts work and just in learning about all these different parts of me, and I think the most important thing is that we're aware that these parts are there. Second of all, we must listen to these parts and not just tell them what's up. Because a lot of times we will feel something and then we're like, it's okay. We'll do some like deep breathing exercises and calm our nervous system down and just like, it's okay. It's okay that you feel anxious. It's okay that you feel depressed. It's okay. We're doing much better. And what I've learned through my healing journey is that when you feel anxious, when you feel these emotions, don't just tell them what to feel or what to do. Actually sit there and pay attention. Pay attention and ask questions. Why do you feel anxious? Why do you feel depressed? Talk to me. I'm here for you. I'm here to listen. I'm here to acknowledge your feelings. So it's important doing parts work that you acknowledge and you sit with these parts and actually have conversations with them and ask them questions and get to know them and why they feel the way they feel. You know, parts work has been just literally, I feel like every day I'm learning new things about myself and different parts of myself. And when I decided to document and share everything on this channel of who I truly am, so my goal was to just continue to just be honest, right? And show my true self. And I want to actually share some with you guys. So I smoked weed for a long time, you know, from as long as I remember, like 13, 14, I think, when I started. And for like a decade or even longer, I smoked like 5-10 joints a day, and I was always smoking, right? But yeah, what I've noticed since I've started parts work is that there's a couple of parts of me that love to smoke weed. Then there's other parts of me that dislike it. They're like, it's not healthy, it's not good for your lungs, like you shouldn't do it. it's interesting to observe the part of me that gets excited about smoking weed whenever I'm with these certain friends. Where the other parts of me are still just defensive, like, don't smoke, it's not good for you, shouldn't do it, and you know why you shouldn't do it, and all these things. You are watching this, and subscribe, like, comment. I'm getting used to saying all these things as I'm documenting and sharing more on this channel. And if you have questions, if you want me to talk about something, if you want me to explain something better, drop a comment. Let me know. I'd love to make more videos on the things that you feel like watching from me. So